Have you ever looked in the mirror and thought, why am I feeling more tired these days? Maybe it's harder to get out of bed in the morning. Your joints creak a little more than they used to, and by the afternoon, your energy feels like it's been drained by a vacuum cleaner. You're not alone. Aging comes with its fair share of changes. But here's something you might not realize: a simple 30-minute walk each day could be one of the most powerful ways to reclaim your energy, reduce your pain, and even extend your life. Now, before you roll your eyes and say, "I already walked from the kitchen to the living room," hang with me for a minute. I'm talking about a consistent, daily, purposeful walk, not a sprint, not a marathon. Just 30 minutes at a comfortable, steady pace. Whether it's in your neighborhood, at the local mall, or on a peaceful park trail, it's something you can start today. And the benefits? They're bigger than most people think. Let's begin with something nearly everyone's curious about: weight loss. If you're over 50, you've probably noticed that shedding even a few pounds isn't as easy as it used to be. Maybe you've tried diets that promised the world and delivered very little. But here's the truth: you don't need to exhaust yourself or starve to see changes. A daily 30-minute walk can burn up to 250 calories depending on your pace, your body weight, and your terrain. Now, 250 calories might not sound like a lot on its own, but over time, it adds up. That's nearly 2,000 calories a week without going to the gym. Let me tell you about Richard. He's 64, lives in Ohio, and he'd struggled with his weight since his late 40s. He didn't feel ready for the gym, and his knees didn't agree with running. So his doctor suggested something simple: walk every day for 30 minutes. Rain or shine, Richard got outside, sometimes alone, sometimes with his dog, sometimes with his granddaughter. 6 months later, he'd lost 15 pounds. But more than the number on the scale, his cholesterol was lower, he could tie his shoes without holding his breath, and he just felt lighter. What's even better, walking helps reduce that dangerous belly fat, the kind that sits deep around your organs and increases your risk for heart disease and diabetes. That fat is stubborn, but regular walking sends a signal to your body: hey, we're using energy again. Let's let this stuff go. Now, while we're talking about your body's inner defenses, here's something you might not expect. Walking strengthens your immune system. Yes, really. As you walk, your body starts producing more white blood cells, especially T cells, which help fight off infections. When you're moving regularly, your blood circulates better, carrying those immune cells where they need to go. It's like turning your bloodstream into a superhighway for protection. There was a study from Appalachian State University that followed a group of adults over age 55. The people who walked at least 5 days a week had 43% fewer sick days than those who didn't walk regularly. That means fewer colds, fewer sniffles, and fewer days stuck in bed with a blanket and a box of tissues. And think about this: as we get older, our immune systems don't fire on all cylinders like they used to. That's why we're more vulnerable to the flu, pneumonia, and even viruses like shingles. But walking daily can give your immune system the reboot it needs. You might not see it working, but you'll feel the difference when everyone around you gets sick and you stay healthy. Let me introduce you to Martha, a retired librarian in Seattle. At 70, she was tired of constantly catching whatever bug was going around at her church. Her grandson, who was studying physical therapy, encouraged her to start walking every morning before breakfast. It wasn't easy at first. Her joints felt stiff, and the chilly air didn't help. But she stuck with it. A year later, she hadn't had a single cold, and her doctor called her immune response impressively strong for her age. She called it her daily defense stroll. So, what about you? Have you had a moment lately where you felt like your body wasn't keeping up the way it used to? Maybe you've been catching colds more often or just feeling sluggish. Let me ask you this: what's stopping you from putting on your shoes and walking out the door? You don't need fancy equipment, a gym membership, or even a schedule. All you need is a comfortable pair of shoes and the willingness to give your body what it's been asking for. Here's the thing: walking isn't just about movement, it's a message to yourself. A message that says, I'm not giving up on my health. I'm choosing to feel better. And when your body starts responding with less pain, fewer illnesses, and even a little weight loss, you'll see that message return loud and clear. Let's keep this momentum going, because there's more happening inside your body when you walk than you might imagine. Now that we're on this path together literally and figuratively, let's talk about something that holds so many people back from enjoying life the way they used to: back pain. If you've ever stood up and felt that dull ache in your lower back, or had to pause halfway through grocery shopping just to stretch it out, you know how frustrating it can be. But here's the good news: walking is one of the most underrated natural pain relievers we have. See, when you walk, your body releases endorphins and serotonin, natural chemicals that help reduce your perception of pain and boost your mood at the same time. These aren't just feel-good hormones. They actually help relax tense muscles, improve blood flow to the spine, and reduce inflammation in your lower back. I remember speaking with Gerald, a 68-year-old retired firefighter from Arizona. He spent decades in a physically demanding job, and by the time he hit his mid-60s, the chronic back pain had become his daily companion. He was tired of pain pills and the way they made him groggy and disconnected. His physical therapist suggested starting with short walks, 10 minutes, then 15, building slowly to 30. Within 2 months, Gerald reported his pain level had dropped by half, and he'd cut back significantly on medications. But what struck him most wasn't just the pain relief, it was the sense of freedom he got back. Being able to move without fear gave him a piece of his life back. You don't need to power walk or push through pain to get these benefits. In fact, the goal is gentle, regular movement that encourages your spine to stay flexible and supported by the surrounding muscles. Even if your walk is just around your block or in your backyard, your body will notice. Now, while we're talking about strength and support, let's talk bones, because as we get older, bone health becomes more important than ever. After 50, especially for women, bone density naturally starts to decrease. That can lead to a higher risk of osteoporosis and fractures, even from minor falls. But the act of walking, especially brisk walking, is a weight-bearing exercise. That means it uses your own body weight to put gentle stress on your bones, which stimulates them to grow stronger. Think of it like this: bones are kind of like muscles. If you don't use them, they get weaker. But when you use them regularly in a low-impact way, like walking, they stay dense, strong, and capable. Think of someone like Denise. She's 73, lives in North Carolina, and she's always been a little nervous about falling. Her mother suffered a hip fracture in her 70s and never fully recovered. So Denise made a decision. She started walking every morning, just for 20 minutes, then built up to 30. After a year, her doctor ran a bone density scan and was surprised. Her scores had improved, something that's not very common at her age. Denise didn't just feel stronger, she was stronger. And walking doesn't just support your bones, it strengthens your muscles too. Your legs, your glutes, even your core muscles all get a gentle workout during a daily walk. That means better balance, better posture, and fewer falls. It's like a full body tune-up without the strain of lifting weights. Now, let's shift gears a little and talk about something a bit less physical, but just as important: your mood. How often do you feel anxious or stressed these days? Maybe your mind races before bed, or you feel overwhelmed by the constant stream of news, health concerns, or just the weight of day-to-day life. That's where walking becomes your secret weapon. When you move your body, especially outside, your brain starts to release endorphins, those same feel-good chemicals we talked about earlier. They don't just reduce pain, they also improve mood, help calm anxiety, and increase a sense of well-being. But there's something even more powerful at play here. When you walk, especially in nature or in peaceful surroundings, your cortisol levels drop. That's the stress hormone that can wreak havoc on your blood pressure, sleep, and even your immune system. Walking becomes a kind of moving meditation. No phone calls, no screens, just you, your steps, and your breath. Even just 30 minutes can help clear your mind, reduce racing thoughts, and bring a sense of calm. One viewer once wrote to me about her worry walks. Barbara, 66, lost her husband a few years ago, and found herself struggling with anxiety she had never experienced before. She didn't want to take medication unless absolutely necessary, so she started walking every evening after dinner. She called it her time to walk through the noise in her head. Over time, her sleep improved, her blood pressure normalized, and she felt more in control emotionally. Her walks became her therapy and her sanctuary. So if you've been feeling mentally scattered, overwhelmed, or stuck in a cycle of worry, consider lacing up your shoes and heading outside. You don't have to solve every problem during your walk. Just take the first step. Sometimes, that's all it takes to start turning things around. And what's beautiful about all of this is that these benefits don't require a lot of time. You're not being asked to overhaul your life or become someone you're not. You're simply being invited to move your body a little each day in a way that honors your age, supports your health, and brings more peace into your life. We've now seen how walking helps with weight, immunity, pain, bone strength, and even your emotional well-being. And here's the amazing part, it's just the beginning. Your body responds to consistency, and the longer you keep at it, the deeper the benefits become. Let's keep walking together. There's still more happening under the surface than you might think. You know, the more we walk together through these benefits, the clearer it becomes. Your body isn't just reacting to walking, it's thriving because of it. And there's one part of the body that especially loves when you walk: your joints. Now, what you might be thinking, wait, don't my joints hurt more when I move too much? It's a common concern, especially if you're dealing with arthritis or have had knee pain for years. But here's the surprising truth. Gentle, regular movement like walking actually helps protect your joints, not harm them. See, your joints are surrounded by a fluid called synovial fluid. It's like the oil in a car engine. When you sit still for too long, that fluid doesn't circulate well, and your joints can start to feel stiff or even swollen. But when you walk even for a few minutes, you help stimulate circulation to those joints. That means more fluid, more nutrients, more lubrication, and less of that bone-on-bone grinding that causes pain. Remember a man named Charles, a retired Army veteran in his 70s. He told me that for years, every morning started with stiff knees that made getting out of bed a chore. He thought it was just old age, and figured there was nothing to be done. But his wife gently nudged him into joining her on short evening walks. At first, he grumbled and shuffled through the motions. But after about 2 weeks, something changed. He noticed that he could stand up faster in the mornings. His knees didn't ache quite so much. Walking wasn't hurting him, it was healing him in a way he hadn't expected. And here's something else to think about. When you move your joints regularly, you're also strengthening the muscles around them. That means more support, better balance, and fewer chances of slipping, falling, or injuring yourself. And as we get older, falls become one of the biggest health risks we face. So in a very real way, walking helps you stay on your feet literally. But there's one last benefit I want to talk to you about. And in many ways, it's the most powerful of them all. Walking daily can actually help you live longer. Not just more years, but more quality years. There was a major study published in JAMA Internal Medicine that followed over 50,000 adults. It found that people who walked briskly for just 30 minutes a day had a 24% lower risk of death from all causes. That's heart disease, cancer, respiratory illness, you name it. 24%. Just from walking. And here's the thing, it doesn't require a fancy treadmill, or a personal trainer, or a subscription to some online program. It just takes you, your shoes, and the decision to show up for your body every day. I think of Maria when I talk about this. She's 76 now, and she started walking after her sister passed away unexpectedly at 68 from complications related to heart disease. That loss shook her. It made her think about how many things she'd put off, how many mornings she skipped breakfast, how often she sat all day watching TV, how many years she told herself, I'll take better care of myself next month. So she made a promise. 30 minutes every day, rain or shine, even if she didn't feel like it. 3 years later, Maria has more energy than some of her grandkids. Her blood pressure is under control. Her doctor says her heart is strong. But most importantly, she feels alive again. She says the walk gives her clarity, peace, and a sense of purpose she didn't know she needed. She told me, I don't want to just live longer, I want to live better. And walking helps me do that. So let me ask you something, what would it mean to you to have more energy? To feel lighter, freer, more flexible? What would you do if your knees didn't ache so much? If you could sleep better? If you didn't get sick as often? Or need so many pills just to feel okay? That's the power of walking. It's not a miracle cure. It's not a magic bullet. But it's something real, doable, and consistent that supports your health from the inside out. It helps your weight, your heart, your back, your bones, your joints, your mind, and yes, even your lifespan. And I know starting something new can feel overwhelming. But remember, you don't have to do it all at once. If 30 minutes feels like too much right now, start with 10, 5, even. Just step outside, take a few breaths, and begin. Let your body guide you. You'll be amazed how quickly it starts asking for more once it realizes how good it feels to move. And you don't have to do it alone. Invite a friend, walk with a pet, call your kids while you walk, listen to your favorite music or podcast. Make it enjoyable, make it yours. The journey is yours to own, and it starts with that first step. Now, if you found this video helpful, I'd love it if you gave it a thumbs up. It helps this message reach more people who might really need it. And if you're ready to make walking a part of your daily life, or already have, I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below and share your experience. What changes have you noticed since you started walking? Or what's been holding you back? And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more simple, science-backed ways to stay healthy, energized, and thriving at any age. Thanks for spending this time with me. Here's to strong steps, steady progress, and living your best life one walk at a time. You've got this.